Hello team and welcome back to the channel. After almost 2 weeks I have successfully fixed the 10-tier microservice application and it is getting deployed fine. Okay, and that's what I'm going to show you from scratch. What is the application about, what is the architecture of the application, what are different components in the application, how we can build and deploy the application on Kubernetes server. So everything I'm going to show you properly, but you just need to make sure that you are watching the video completely, because if you do not, then you might miss something and the application may not be getting deployed properly. Okay, one more thing team, if you want dedicated sessions for coming 2 months, so I have recently launched my batch 2, which will be started from 20th of October. The cost is 6,000, where we cover 0 to hero DevSecOps and Cloud DevOps. And DevSecOps completely from scratch, everything Linux shell scripting, CI/CD tools, GitOps, everything from scratch. In addition to that, security tools also we try to cover. Same thing we'll be doing with Azure DevOps, which will help you a lot when if you are going for interviews. Okay, and the best part about my course is that I give you a corporate project explanation also. So like when you are going for interviews, they ask mainly about if you have experience on corporate project or not. So what I'm trying to do is explain you different corporate projects, their architecture, how they are getting built and deployed, and what was my role as a DevOps engineer, which will help you understand how these things happen. And I assume that that will help you a lot when you are going for interviews. Not just that, I will help you build your proper resume, the best resume that is out there, and how you can get more and more calls after using those kind of resume. Okay, so yeah, if you are interested, if you want to put little bit of effort for coming 2 months, make sure to join this session. Okay, it is for 2 months and you are going to learn a lot, everything from scratch. So even if you do not have experience in DevOps, still you can learn properly. There is no issue with that. Okay, yeah. So coming back team, today we are going to build and deploy a proper 10-tier microservices based application, which will help you a lot. And I would request you watch the video till end to understand how it's getting done, as well as you can just support me. That helps me a lot. Okay, yeah. So team, let me show you the overview of the application that we are going to deploy today. Okay, so this is the application, online boutique application, which is actually from Google. Okay, and the best part that this application, when you deploy this application, it creates around 12 pods. When you deploy to Kubernetes, it creates around 12 pods and same number of services also. So total it's like 24 number of resources will be creating inside Kubernetes cluster when you deploy this application. That is a very interesting thing. Okay, so in this application, basically I'll explain you everything from scratch, how this application, what is the application architecture, how it's getting built and deployed. Okay, so you just need to do one thing. You can just watch the video till end and you can find out how it's done. Rest, the only thing that I ask from you is the support also. So you can just subscribe, it does not cost anything. Okay, and the giving you a little bit overview about this application team. So every single component in this application is completely minimalized and it works very fine. For example, if I click on this add to cart, automatically this section, you see there is a small pop-up on our cart icon that there is like one item inside it. Okay, so and here you can change the which like currency you want to work with. If let's say I click on hair dryer and scroll down, this is the recommendation services that will come. Okay, so yeah, every single component about this application, it works very fine. See, there are like some discounts also coming. So if I click on that, it will take me to another page where I can get the hair dryer item with discounted price. Okay, so this application is like the one of the best application that you can put in your resume, and that will be really help you a lot. Because if you can explain like, okay, I have worked with application that was getting deployed through like 24 resources, like 12 pods and 12 services, then that is going to be really useful for interviews. Okay team, so with that being said, let's just get started. I'll explain you from scratch what is microservice application, why do we need it, what benefit does it provide, and everything. Okay, so yeah, let's get started. So let us first understand what exactly is a microservice based application. Okay, for example, let's consider an application, e-commerce application similar to like Flipkart or Amazon. Okay, what they do, they will sell services online, right? So let's say like while building the application, what we did, instead of like writing source code completely inside one folder, we created separate like a source code for each of the service. Okay, for example, like for like doing the payment on the website, there will be separate service. For like running different, what kind of ads should be run on our website, For that also we'll be having different service, like how the cart system of our application will work. For that also I'll be having separate service. Okay, similar to that, shipping service, email service, login service, and for every single task or every single component that is going to be present in our application, there will be a separate service. Okay, so each of these service which you are seeing, it is known as microservice. Okay, so basically what exactly happens, that like combining all of these services together, then we get our application, right? Okay, now you might think, what is the benefit of keeping everything separate? Why cannot we keep everything in a single source folder, right? So the benefit is that next time developers got to know like they received the update that team, you need to make some changes in our payment section. Okay, there is some bug or something, you need to change payment section. Okay, so what developers can do, they can make changes in the source code of payment service, and that would not affect any of the other services. Okay, so you only think if we are having all the source code in a single thing, then if you want to change something for payment or something, then we need to we need to build all of them together, right? But if we are keeping everything separate, then developers, what they can do, they can just make changes in our payment service folder. Okay, then just build and deploy this part separately. So in that section, in that way, what will happen, rest of the components, they do not get affected, and website also stays online. Okay, and without delay, we can build and deploy the payment service part of the application, right? So in that way, this is the best option, you can say, is separately you are managing everything. And on the best part, let me tell you the best part about microservice based application. Each of these application, that each of this service that you are seeing, they can be written in a different programming language. For example, like front end would be written in Node.js, back end would be written in Java, then some login service or email service will be written in Python, some other service will be written in C sharp. Okay, in that format, like different programming languages you can use for each service. Like if you think like whichever programming language is suitable for, like let's say I want to make the login page for our website. Okay, so you got to know, okay, Node.js is the best option to go with it, because with Node.js we can make the most minimal page for login. So you went with login service. For login service part, you went with Node.js based application. Okay, then you came to look, if I need to prepare the payment section of our application, so you got to know, okay, C sharp will be best for that, so you went with that. Okay, so in that way, like for every service, whichever language you feel okay, this is going to be best, you can use that language. Okay, in that way you can see how customizable this application will be, right? Any way you want to build it, any way you want to work with it, you can do that. Okay, but the main reason that we prefer having a microservices based application is that we can modify or we can update any of the sections of our application without causing any problems to other sections. Okay, in case we were not having microservice application and we were using, let's say, monolithic application, in monolithic, like if all the sections will be inside single thing, okay, single folder and all. Okay, so in that case, what will happen, every time if we need to update some feature, we need to take the application down, rebuild it and redeploy it. Okay, but in case of microservices based applications, we can simply take a section like single microservice, edit it, update it, and then deploy it. That makes sure that application does not goes down and there is no downtime. Okay, that is one of the benefits of using microservice based application. Okay, now you might be thinking, what, how exactly, since there are so many different components, different services, so how do they exactly communicate among each other? Okay, obviously they are going to communicate among each other, right? So there are multiple ways for that. One of the way is known as message broker. Okay, so we'll be having another component which will be known as message broker. So what will happen if payment service wants to communicate with ad service? So what will do, payment service first go to message broker and provide the information, this is what needs to be done and this is what I need to convey to ad service component. Okay, then message broker, this will forward that request to ad service. Okay, so in that way, message broker becomes the main point of contact for all of them, and they will communicate through message broker. Okay, some of the common message broker known as RabbitMQ, this that and Redis cache also, they are some of the commonly known message broker in case of microservices based application. Okay, that is one way. Another way we have is gRPC. Okay, gRPC basically the short for like G is for basically Google, RPC is for remote procedure call. Okay, so that is another way of using like maintaining communication between microservices. Okay, and if you're thinking like why should we use like which one should we use, right? Message broker or like gRPC. Okay, so that like depending on the requirement you can decide like which one should be used. For example, in this application, in our application that I'm going to show you, there we are going to use gRPC. Okay, remote procedure calls. Okay, for maintaining the communication between different microservices. The reason for using that, the main reason for using that option for maintaining the communication between all these components is that key it supports so many variety of different languages. Okay, and as I told, in case of our application, each service is written in a different language. Like some services are written, some microservices component are written in Python language, some are in C Sharp, some are Java, some are like Node.js, like that. Okay, so in that case RPC becomes very feasible and very useful component for maintaining the communication among them. Okay, okay, now what I want, this is the general structure of a microservice application, and now you know why do we have microservice application and what benefits does it provide, right? Okay, now what I want to show you is the actual application that we are going to work with, and I will show you the complete architecture, how each component is talking to other component. Okay, and what are different microservices we have in our actual application. Okay, yeah, but again team, the only thing that I require from you is to support me through like subscribing to the YouTube channel, and I keep bringing these kind of applications for you. Okay, because like the recently, like, see, I received a lot of messages from people who are saying, Aditya, I joined this course and they did not teach properly, they just showed how to deploy like hello world kind of application, and even you can think that is not going to be beneficial for you. If you want to get job, if you want to qualify an interview, you should have these kind of application added in your resume, a proper microservice based application, full stack and running properly, right? So that is what I'm trying to do, and these are the kind of application that I show in my paid courses. So if you are interested, you can join that, else you can just follow me on YouTube and keep getting these kind of applications. Okay, so yeah, so let's start with the actual application architecture. Okay team, so now let me explain you the complete architecture of this 10 tier, sorry, it's actually 11 tier microservice application. So let me explain you how exactly it's working. Okay, so these components, each of the single component that you are seeing, it's a single micro service that is connected, and I have like used different arrows to showcase like where exactly it will go and what is the functionality. Okay, let me explain first. So first, obviously, like we'll be to access the application, we'll go inside browser, and the front end is the entry point of this application. Okay, like through browser, basically we are going to punch the page for like front end, where we will see the actual application front end of the application. Okay, okay, coming to next. So from front end, basically when you are searching different items, if you want to search glasses, clothes or something, that will be taken care by product catalog service. Okay, whatever you search, so that information will be shared to product catalog service, and that will return the items if it is available in the like in the application. Okay, so that is taken by product service catalog, that is one of the you can say microservice. Okay, okay, then we can see there is another microservice which is known as recommendation service. Okay, so basically based on what things you are searching, this microservice, it will take information, it take that information, and based on like, let's say if you are searching glasses, so it will show you like which more glasses are there with offers. Okay, so basically it is going to recommend the items based on your selection. Okay, okay, then we have another thing from like front end, we can directly go to cart service also. So see, if we are like searching something, if you liked it, obviously we are, if you want to buy it, okay, what we are going to do, we are going to add that item in our cart. Okay, so that's why cart is also directly connected to front end. Then once you like push your item inside cart, what will happen? Cart is like storing some data, right? So that data, where exactly it is getting stored? So for that we have Redis database, and that is going to store the information or items, like information about the items we are storing in our cart service. So that's why the Redis database is connected directly to cart service. Okay, so these four microservice, you understand, right? Okay, next, so directly to front end also we have ad service. Okay, basically like what kind of ad should be shown to user, that is managed by this ad service micro component. Okay, It will decide like what kind of ads should be shown, and that is also done based on what kind of items you are searching, right? If you are searching like mobile phones, then it will show ki which mobile phones are like available and which are like on more discount and all. Okay, then we have checkout service. Okay, so basically like when you add something, okay, if you are like added something, then you can go to checkout also. So basically from checkout service what will happen ki from checkout service either you can see the currency service. Basically what will happen, like you can decide ki in which currency you want to buy. If you are like outside the current country, then you will select, okay, I want to buy in Japanese currency. So when you are like on checkout section, from there you can see ki, okay, which one I want to buy. Okay, now one mistake, I think there is a mistake, let me correct it quickly. So this arrow should be from here to here. Okay, we can directly like when we add some items into cart service, then we can go to checkout service for the payment part. Okay, yeah. So from checkout service we have one arrow going to currency service, which is basically gives us the access to decide in what currency we want to buy our items. Okay, and from checkout service directly you can go to product like search page, ki what items you want. If you want to add more items, you can go there also. Okay, okay, so these are like other microservices. Then we have from checkout service we have other three microservices. Okay, so first of all we have email service. Okay, so if you are going to buy something, you are going to put your email for getting the invoices or the receipt of the items that you buy. Okay, so that part like sending mails to your email, that will be managed by this email service. This is the microservice that will manage that. Okay, and when you want to buy something, that will be like payment will be done through payment will be managed by this microservice payment service. Okay, and finally once payment is done, final item will be from shipping service. Okay, and these arrows you are seeing that are directly connected to shipping. So that means like from front end also we can go directly. Okay, and this is how communication will happen. Okay, you can like sit and understand it one by one. Okay, okay, now let me explain you one through some picture. Okay, see, so this is the actual number of like microservice components that we have, and you can see each component is written in different language: Go, C Sharp, Go again, then Node.js, then Python, then Java, Python/locust. These services are written in different programming languages, and that is the beauty of microservice, because you can write each service in a different programming language and still it works fine, right? Still and you can see like each component what it is used for. You can just read the description and you can understand. Okay, okay, now let me explain you how each component is getting built. Okay, because if we cannot simply just deploy the application, that's all, right? We need to understand how exactly it's getting built. So for that, on this application, see, the application that I'm showing you, it's actually from Google, official from Google, and each of the components you can see exist here. Okay, for example, let's say I want to build the ad service application, so I will go inside ad service folder. Okay, it's like written in Gradle and all, and see what thing that I'm going to focus on is the Docker file. If I open the Docker file, it will contain the complete information about building the Docker image. Okay, so my main purpose should be to understand how like we are going to use the Docker file to build the Docker image. Okay, because when we are going to deploy the application, like basically when we deploy any application to Kubernetes, what we do, we provide the Docker image name inside it, so that specific image should be used for building the application, right? Again, this is for ad service. Again, if I go to cart service, another component here inside src, you will see again Docker file, new Docker file for the, and see each of the single Docker file basically is for specific microservice, right? So this is also, this is I think SDK. Okay, this is also .NET based microservice. Okay, and this is also building the this part, building the Docker image. Okay, okay, one more thing you should know about, like before building this application, you should know each component, the port on which it is running. Okay, and that information will be given by developers itself, because developers have tested it, ran it on their local server, so they will let you know on each like which port each component is running. Okay, got it. Similar to that, again, like we have all the components, each microservice, you can find the Docker file, and inside Docker file complete information is there, like how to build the application and generate the Docker image. Okay, so see, Once we have Docker images for all the services, all the microservices, then we are good to go for building the application, right? Okay, let's say we have like built our all the application and generated the Docker images, right? Next part would be is to write the manifest files, or you can say YAML files for Kubernetes. Next step. Okay, that you can find, you can go to release section. Okay, and here we have this file kubernetes manifest.yaml, so you can open it. And this file that you are seeing, this is like one of the longest file that I have seen actually. So this file, it contains all the complete detailed information about the each service YAML files. Okay, for example, let me show you. For example, let's say this is the deployment part. For this is for add service microservice, add service component. Okay, so from here to here we have the deployment, okay, and port also. And see, specifically we are using gRPC. As I told, the communication will be communication between microservice components will be happening over gRPC, because it is like suitable in our case at this point. Okay, and then we have each component will be having its deployment and service also. And here we have defined the same port here, right? That means it will be able to communicate properly. Okay, same thing we are going to have for each microservice component. Okay, so this information that you are seeing, this is actually provided by developer. Okay, this service specifically we are running it on 50,000 port 51. Okay, and you can see since there are like so many different components, so for each component there will be a deployment part and a where is this service part. Okay, each component will be having currency service, then this is for okay. Yeah, so basically what we need to do, once we have like built our Docker images and we have the Docker images, so we can add our Docker images inside our manifest files. Let me show you that as well. See, each of the deployment YAML will be having this section image, where you need to provide the image name. This is gcr.io. So this is the Docker registry of Google. Okay, GCP basically. So and you can see these are the name of the Docker image for specific services. This is for email service. If I scroll down, and I will be able to find out checkout service Docker image. Scroll down, recommendation service Docker image. Each service Docker image is added here. Okay, you can see front-end Docker service Docker image. Okay, so yeah, so what we are going to do is use this YAML file. Already I explained you how like the Docker images are getting built. Each single component needs to be built. Okay, but since we already have the Docker images, so we can directly deploy, right? Like as I explained, each you can see each folder is the one microservice, and each this folder contains Docker file which will be used for building the Docker images, right? So once we have Docker images built, we can simply use the manifest files, change the see, separately also each service manifest files is there. Okay, so but what we are going to do, we are going to consolidate everything inside one file, which is kubernetes manifest.yaml file. Okay, and in here what you need to do is just replace the images. Since as of now, like the latest one is version 0.8.0, so you just need to replace. If you want to use different version, you can check out on this official page on Google registry, and you will find the different versions of it. Okay, and you just need to replace this one, and then you are good to go. Rest you see everything, like whatever parameters we have that are like required for this application to be built. Even we have resources added. Okay, not just resources, even we have the liveness probe and readiness probe added. Okay, so this is how things will be happening here. Okay, now what I want to show you is how exactly I'm going to deploy this on Kubernetes cluster. Okay, and yeah, this application will be working with EKS, then AKS, then a local Kubernetes cluster also. Okay, you just need to make sure that images name are correct and version is supported version is there, then only this application will be working fine. Okay, now let me give you a demo how this application will be deployed and how it will look. Okay, team, so like creating a Kubernetes cluster, as I told, three ways you could do. You could either create EKS cluster, the project will work with that also. You could create local Kubernetes cluster on your local machine, that will also work. Or you could go with AKS. Okay, so for me, since like see, the thing is key in companies who are working with cloud DevOps, they will prefer to create a Kubernetes cluster that is like created by Microsoft or Amazon team, okay, because they will be the one who will manage it, and you don't need to worry about that. Okay, so for me also, what I prefer to do is create Kubernetes cluster on Azure side. Okay, so you just need to like go on like search for Kubernetes services and click on create Kubernetes cluster. Okay, rest you just need to fill the basic details. Subscription, it will automatically take it. Resource group, if you want to use a new one, you can create new, but for me, since already existing one is there, so I used it. Okay, cluster, so for me, I prefer to use for like demo purpose is like dev test. Okay, if you are going to work with production standard, it is going to be very costly, but so just like for demo thing, we can create the lower size cluster. Okay, then you need to provide a name to your cluster, which will be shack, any name you can provide. For me, I just put shack 222. Region, it is better if you are using like your own account, you can use the location which is near to you. Something like if you are in India, you can select the Indian location. Okay, then coming to AKS pricing tier, so for me, I have just taken the free version. Okay, I don't need to spend that too much money on that. Okay, version you can select. I am going with one of the latest ones, 1.2.26.6. Okay, then this one you will just leave it as it is. Then go to node pools. So here you need to select the node size which you want. Okay, if I scroll down, click on choose a size, you can see there are so many VMs. This will be the node, like worker node size. Okay, so since my application can be run properly with the one of the smaller size, which is 2 CPU and 4 GB of RAM, so I will select it. But in case you are having like bigger application, then you need to select like the bigger size nodes. Okay, so I will just go with B2S, which is the 2 CPU and 4 GB of RAM. Okay, click on select, so that is got selected. And how many nodes you want, worker node, how many node you want, so I have written 2 minimum node and 3 maximum worker node I will be using. Okay, so I have taken rest, I don't need to do anything. Click on update, scroll down, click on networking. So here container networking, I'm going to use kubenet. There are two options, Azure CNI or kubenet. Usually for like this is for smaller node pools. So for me, since we are using like a demo version, so we can easily go with kubenet. Okay, see, the reason that I'm using this is because like you can see how easier it is to create and configure the Kubernetes cluster, right? So scroll down, and here network policy, by default it's Calico, so I will just leave it as it is. Then we have integrations. Yeah, so here Azure Monitor I'm going to turn off because the subscription that I'm using does not allow me to use the Azure Monitor. Okay, so I have like turned it off. Alerting also I have turned off. Okay, then click on advanced, and here, yeah, infrastructure resource group, this will be as it is, you don't need to change it. Tags, if you want, then you can put, but usually I don't put, I just leave it as it is. Now it will validate if your the configuration that you have set up, it is correct or not. If it is correct, then you can click on create, and it will create a Kubernetes cluster. Okay, so let's wait for a few seconds to see if it works fine or not. See, the reason that I'm saying I'm teaching everything from scratch, so that you can understand complete thing, how Aditya is doing this, and so that you can also how you can do. Okay, so every configuration is correct. You can see validation pass. I can click on create. Now it will start the creation of Kubernetes cluster. Okay, so meanwhile this is being done, you can see initializing deployment. What I can do, I can go to home of this Microsoft portal, and let me do one thing. Let me create Azure DevOps organization. Okay, so for creating Azure DevOps organization, I can just search here as Azure. See, this is also I'm showing from scratch, so you can do it very easily. Okay, then click on my Azure DevOps organization. Okay, this is the old one, so I will just quickly log out from there. And I will open again one time my Azure DevOps organization. Use another account, so I have the account details here. I will put the email ID and password for that. Password will be this one. Ask later. Okay, so now it will create our Azure DevOps platform. Okay, and using that Azure DevOps platform, we will deploy our application very easily. Okay, later I'll be showing in my course, actually I'll be showing through Jenkins also, but for now I'll be going with Azure DevOps. And yeah, here we need to put details. and continue. See, since the thing is key, you can see still it is in deployment. The deployment of Kubernetes cluster is in progress because it takes a lot of time. It's not a small, creating a cluster is not a small task, so it takes some time to create. Okay, that's why meanwhile we can create our Azure DevOps platform. Okay, so platform is created now, right? What we can do is create a project. So I will provide the project name as, let's say, 10-tier microservice. Okay, and click on create project. Yeah, so once this is created, what I will do, I will go to my organization level, click on organization settings. See, yeah, so scroll down to settings, and here we will enable the creation of pipeline classic builds. Okay, that's all. And now we can go back here, go inside our project, and you can see these are the options. So we have this repos option where we can create our repository. Okay, so what I'm going to do is import the repository which I have. This is the official repository from Google. So let me simply import it. We can click on import, provide the repository details, and click on import. Now this will take few seconds and it will fetch the actual Google repository inside our Azure DevOps. Meanwhile, we can see still in progress the deployment of Kubernetes cluster, and it will take few more minutes, I guess, but it will be done. And since the repository size is also kind of big, so it is also taking little bit of time. Okay, so you can see repository is created, right? Okay, and everything is there. If you want to like just go through them to understand everything, already I have explained. In SRC folder we have the each of the microservice, and I have explained that inside each of the folders we have the Docker file for building the Docker image, and that Docker image is going to be used in YAML files. Okay, so if I expand this release, this YAML files you are seeing, so this is the one, like this is the YAML file inside which we have defined our each of the microservice images. Okay, okay. So what I'm going to do now is I have my own version of YAML file, so I'm gonna put it here. Okay, I will edit this, remove this quickly, and I have my own version of YAML files. So I will copy this whole thing and paste it here. Okay, so once this is done, next what we can do, let me just confirm. Yeah, still this is in progress, so let it be. Meanwhile, where can we go? We can go on pipelines. Okay, so see, the thing is ki since we already have the YAML file ready and we are not building the Docker image, so directly we can deploy to Kubernetes cluster. For that we can go to releases, click on new pipeline, and let it be empty job, and we can write the name as deploy to K8. Okay, and here as part of artifact, instead of, since we are not building any CI, so we can directly fetch the files from Azure repo. So we can provide the project details and repository details. Default branch will be, let me check where exactly, let me check where, in which branch we push the details. That we can go to repository. Where is release? Okay, so we have been using image proxy web branch. Okay, okay, maybe what I should do, I'll be using main branch. That is the good practice. I'll go to main branch and I will edit the files again, remove this one, and copy paste my own version. You can see obviously you are going to also need to edit the files because on our system, like whatever requirement as per that you need to edit the files. Okay, yeah, so main branch we are going to use, and I will just copy this here. Okay, And we have select also like latest from default branch we are going to use, and default branch in my case will be main branch. Okay, click on add. Now this part is done. We can go back to our here. Okay, here you can see deployment is successful, so we can go to the resource and see the status of our Kubernetes cluster. Okay, and this is fine, this won't be an issue. Okay, so we can go to namespaces first. Okay, and here you can see there are like these are some of the by default created namespaces. What we can do, either we can create a new namespace to deploy our application, or we can directly deploy inside default also. Both of them is fine. Okay, then coming to workload, so as of now these are the some of the deployments available, and inside pod section, yeah, these are the files that are available in the pods. Okay, inside services and ingresses we would be able to see few of the service already created. Okay, next, coming back to our release pipeline, let me provide a good name. Is like deploy to K8. Okay, and here we need to configure the actual thing. So here I'm going to click on plus icon, and here I'm gonna search Kubernetes. Deploy to Kubernetes, directly we are able to get the option. So we'll click on add. Okay, and let me see action. Okay, 1 second. I think I choose the wrong one. Let me select again. Kubernetes kubectl. Yeah, so we are going to use kubectl for deployment part. Okay, so here what we need to do, basically we need to create a service connection first, because as of now you can see there is nothing. So we'll click on new, and here automatically it will fetch your Azure subscription. So let's wait for it. See, these configurations are needed just for one time, because afterward you can simply directly do the deployments and it won't be needing anything. Okay, then cluster. So cluster we have already created, Kubernetes cluster shack 222. Then namespace. So namespace I'm going to deploy in default namespace. And yeah, so here I can just provide a name to this service connection, and I'm gonna give the access to all the pipelines. Click on save, and you can see it is setting up the connection. So let's wait for a few seconds. Once this part is completed, then it will be able to deploy the application. Basically this is done for the authentication purpose, that it want to make sure that we are able to access the Kubernetes cluster that is deployed in Azure platform. Okay, now coming to namespace. So namespace we can put as default. Then we have command. So command I'm gonna select apply. Okay, and here you need to make sure that you are selecting use configuration, and here you can select the file which you want to use for deployment. And since we have already if I'm clicking on browse this folder, you know how this is coming. If I go to pipelines, here we have selected the whole repository itself as an artifact. That's why those options are visible here. Okay, so if I browse the folder, expand, and where it was inside release. We can select this file, click OK. Okay, so this is selected. Now yeah, since the Docker images are already public, so we don't need to add any secrets for that. So rest everything is fine. Let me click on OK, and now we can click on create release to do the deployment. So click on create, release 1 is created, and now let us monitor the release pipeline. We can see the logs here, and you can see it is preparing an agent for the job for the pipeline to get started. And this might take little bit of time, because the thing is when this deployment is going to happen, it is going to deploy not just 1 or 2 pods. Instead it is going to deploy around like 10 to 12 pods. Okay, and that's why it is going to take little bit of time. So we'll be, yeah, okay, I guess it got completed very easily. Okay, coming back to our Kubernetes cluster in Azure, and slowly we'll, since it is like, see, you can see it has started creating, okay, but it is like in still in progress because quickly it cannot create these many pods, okay. So as you see, as of now you can see like 4 and 4, total 8 pods are like in pending. So if I refresh it, more will be getting deployed, and slowly within few minutes all of them will be getting deployed. See, now total 6 are pending. So yeah, let us refresh and see the status. Now 5 are pending. Okay, let it be. Let me show you how many pods or how many deployments are getting created. We are in deployments, right? Yeah, you can see from here itself, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12. 12 pods are getting created. If I go here in pod section, here also you would be able to see our services, okay. So yeah, let us wait for a few seconds so that all the pods are created, and then only we will be able to access our application, deployed application. Yeah, so one more this deployment is pending, which is for add service micro component, okay. So let me keep refreshing. Once like everything is deployed and all the pods and services are created, then only we'll be able to access our application. If I go to pods okay, still pending. Let me open and let me see the status. Okay, the refresh will help. Okay, so deployment for add service also done. If I go to pods, we should be able to see all the pods. You can see, yeah, all the pods are running fine now. Now to access application, we can go to services, okay. And here you can see front end external. So this is the specific microservice which I have created, and the service type I have used load balancer so that we can access the application through an external IP address, okay, which you can see created, right? If I click on it, let us see the application deploying or not. You can see application is running fine, and this is very interesting. And see, the thing is this application is completely minimalistic, and it's like all the components work very fine, okay. For example, this is the section where you can change the currency, which currency you want to work with. This is the shopping cart section. You can see it says your shopping cart is empty now. And here suggestions, okay, this is coming because of recommendation service, okay. For example, let's say I want to buy this bamboo glass jar. I can click on it. It will ask me to add to cart. I can click on add to cart, and yeah, I can either click like go with placing order, or I can remove the item. I can click on continue shopping, okay. For example, let's say if I click on mug, see this section that you are seeing here, this is coming because of recommendation service. And you can see every component is working fine. Not just that, every component is completely minimalistic, right? Specific, see, you can see icons are also appearing that, okay, currently cart holds one item. If I click on, let's say this, click on add to cart, you can see total items inside cart changed to 5, okay. You can see, yeah, this is working fine. Let me change the USD dollar, and everything converted to, see, this is like completely responsive website, okay. Shipping address, here you can fill details, and these details whichever you filled, that will be getting stored inside our Redis, as well as these details that we are filling here, they are also getting stored. Whatever like data that we are providing to it, that is getting stored inside Redis database, okay. You can click on place order, and it will say, okay, your order is complete, and like confirmation, like some ID will be there, okay. You can then again you can click on continue shopping, and again it will take you to back to this page. The thing is, if you want to explore this application, you will find every single component that we have defined here is working properly, every single component, okay. And obviously, like you need to explore a little bit more, and you can check out these things. You can do the deployment by yourself, and then only you'll be getting understanding the things properly, okay. So yeah, repository and everything will be in the description, and if you are facing any issue, you just let me know. Already I hope you are in my Telegram group, okay. So yeah, thanks for watching and have a nice day. And yeah, the only thing that I ask from you is keep supporting team. Thank you.